Greetings from the kingdom of the Son of God in beautiful Southern California. Now, this channel right here, I'm focusing on politics, and my goal is to get people to see what the right wing should be in terms of our worldview, because the right wing obviously is a umbrella term, and you have different worldviews within that. But I'm coming from as an American patriot, my concern is for this country and getting back to American ideals and what this country was founded on from a religious perspective, also political. And with that, there are a lot of people on the right wing that are looking for a leader. A lot of Americans, they're looking for someone to lead the charge to get back to a better America. And, in desperate times, people often look for these leaders, and they get very easily satisfied, even if that leader isn't someone worthy of following. And that's the case, I believe, with Nick Fuentes. Why he's not the way forward. One thing is the fact that he's Roman Catholic and the fact that he submits to the Pope. America was founded on anti-papacy, right? It was founded on anti-papacy, anti-Roman Catholicism. And if you're a Roman Catholic, your number one loyalty is the Vatican. Okay? Nick Fuentes is not a sedevacanist. He is a Roman Catholic, and he is obliged to submit to the Pope. And you don't even have to, unless you're under a rock, you know that the Roman Catholic Church is in support of largely the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They're in support of mass immigration. They're speaking out a lot against ICE. They're increasingly welcoming of the LGBTQ movement. I'll just say sodomites. I don't even like using those words, LGBTQ. They're increasingly welcoming of them. I mean, basically the Roman Catholic Church at this point is a liberal NGO of the United Nations. That's how they operate. They're basically, the Catholic Church of today is nothing the way it was prior to Vatican II. And so a lot of the stuff Nick complains about, his own church is facilitating that. And at the end of the day, whatever Nick says, he has to obey his Pope. And it's ironic that he goes so hard on the JQ, but I'll talk about that. Yet, and talks about, well, why are these Jays, I'll call them the Jays, why are they're loyal to Israel first? They're loyal to Israel. Well, if you're a Catholic and you're in America, your number one loyalty is the Vatican. And they're facilitating a lot of stuff that is ruining our country. Well, I mean, I don't even want to get into that too much. But what a lot of people haven't paid attention to, and again, these people, a lot of them, when they're called on, when it's shown that what Nick is doing in these interviews, like with Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan, they basically cope and deny it. In the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination, Nick said some things that concerned me about the left. And he started virtue signaling, I think because he's scared. He started virtue signaling that, oh, we in the right are no different than the left. We're all wicked sinners. Well, again, that's a problem with Catholic doctrine, right? They teach you that you're a wicked sinner, even if you're supposedly saved by Christ. So he starts virtue signaling that, oh, we in the left, there's no difference with us. We're all wicked. Wait a minute, then why are we fighting this war? If we're no different than the left, I mean, what is this fight about then? We are fighting the left as the right precisely because there's a world of difference between us and them in terms of character, obviously doctrine, ideology, character. To just blanketly say everybody's wicked, so yeah, we're all the same. And again, Nick was basically trying to encourage the right wing not to do anything and don't do that. Well, obviously that goes without saying. You shouldn't do anything stupid, but it's almost like he was saying that if there's ever a time, that there's never a time to handle business like our forefathers, what they did, the revolution. And basically saying the right and left are just all the same, we're all wicked. He starts virtue signaling. I caught that. And if you know Nick, he will go against people that actually do action instead of just sit there in front of a camera and talk. Nonetheless, on Tucker Carlson, something I picked up, and this is also a problem with Catholicism. And again, this is what Nick does. He goes hard on the JQ, but then kind of backtracks and starts complimenting them when he's interviewed on these big platforms. And he said to Tucker Carlson, yeah, the Jews are a witness people. He starts bringing up St. Thomas Aquinas and Catholic philosophy that the Jews should be protected. They're a witness people. Well, wait a minute. A lot of these right-wingers and even white nationalists look to Nick as the guy to lead the charge against Tikkun Olam and the Zionist world order. And yet here he's saying this, that, oh, they're a witness people and that they're to be protected in Catholic philosophy. And that is true throughout history. The Catholic Church has, even though the Catholic Church and the Jays have a weird relationship, a very dysfunctional relationship. Catholics have, obviously the Jews and Catholics have done things to each other. And but yet the Catholics have this doctrine, they're to be protected, they're witness people. It's bizarre. It really is. It's double-minded. And so they've given allowances to the Jays in some of their countries, and that's come back to bite them. Why? Because they left the parasite there, right? And then he says, oh, well, my best friend is Jewish on Tucker Carlson's show. And it's like, it's the ultimate virtue signal, right? Isn't that what everybody who's accused of racism is? Oh, my best friend is black. I'm just like, and one, it's weird because if you're Jewish, how could you have a best friend that just rails constantly on your people, right? It just seems weird. I pay attention to those things. Then on Piers Morgan, while everybody is singing Nick's praises because the way he handled himself in Piers Morgan, and I've watched most of that interview, and what I caught was Nick doing the same thing, the virtue signaling for the left. Oh yeah, Piers Morgan called him out on some of the quote-unquote racist things that Nick has said. But I don't believe in the concept of race. And Nick starts saying that he when asked if he has non-white friends, Nick says most of my friends are non-white. So he has a best friend that's Jewish. Most of his friends are non-white, but yet these are people, the non-whites and the Jays, that he constantly rails against. Again, double-minded, double-tongued, hypocritical. So that's one thing on the Piers Morgan interview. Then he says basically the same thing, but expands on it, on what he said with Tucker Carlson, that he says, and to Piers Morgan, he says, the Jews are a witness people and they're an exceptional people. He said it twice. The Jews are an exceptional people and they're a witness people. And that's what Catholic doctrine teaches. I mean, the virtue signaling, wait a minute, these are people you constantly speak against, and now you're saying they're an exceptional people. That's bizarre. So now you're promoting subtly Jewish supremacy. And this is the problem with the Christian world. They promote Jewish supremacy. Oh, they're the chosen people. They're a special people. I mean, do people read the New Testament? That's all done away with. But again, the problem is rooted in Catholic doctrine. When you go to the canon of the Catholic Church, they believe at the end of time, all Jews will be saved. All Israel will be saved. So therefore, because of that doctrine, they always have a special place for Jews. In the modern Catholic Church, because of Nostra Aetate, of a document of Vatican II, they call Jews their big brother. The Jews are Catholics' big brother. I mean, the modern Catholic Church, and it's funny, these right-wing Catholics like Dave O'Reilly from the Backlash will constantly go talk about evangelicals and Protestants of being Zionists. Well, your own church is Zionist, man. Nostra Aetate is the most Zionist thing Zionist document you could have. And that's your church's document. And if you're a Catholic and you're not a Sedevacanist, then you are in agreement with Nostra Aetate. You submit to that. You have to. Where it says that basically Catholic modern Catholicism, they lavish themselves, they lavish the Jews with praise. And even some of the Catholic study Bibles will say that the Old Covenant is still in effect. So now, modern Catholicism, a lot of Catholics are teaching dual covenant theology. How is that any different than the Zionist, Christian Zionist of the evangelical world? So don't buy into this myth that the Catholic Church is the one who is based on the JQ, and it's the Protestants and evangelicals who are cucked for Israel. No, the Catholics are cucked for Israel big time. In fact, in some ways, more so than Protestants. You have the Philos Project. You have what Trent Horn is a part of, Lila Rose. And I think Lila Rose was saying that, well, we shouldn't be too, we shouldn't think that the church is the kingdom. She's like, Lila Rose is basically speaking against traditional Catholic ecclesiology that, we shouldn't be so it's almost like she's saying that the church shouldn't be too kingdom oriented, that we're not the kingdom. We shouldn't get too far into that. And basically what it is, she's trying to subtly say, well, truly the kingdom will be in the future when all Israel's saved. It's almost like subtly saying there'll be a future millennial kingdom in Jerusalem. It's taking the church's kingdom, the church as the kingdom, away. And Catholics, just like evangelicals, we're telling Christians not to say Christ is king to Jews, and even to be careful saying it altogether. But so Nick goes on and says this: they're an exceptional people, right? That are witness people, reiterating that, but even going beyond, they're an exceptional people. Why? Because how do I interpret why Nick is saying that? I think because Nick is virtue signaling. He's a coward when it comes down to it. He's very comfortable in his studio railing against the Jays and other peoples, but when he's called on it in a more public platform, bigger platform, he starts virtue signaling. Oh, my best friend's Jewish. Oh, most of my friends are non-white. Oh, the Jews are an exceptional people. And then he was called on about something about his father making a comment about why we shouldn't go to a restaurant because there's too many, I guess, blacks there. And then Nick was saying, oh, well, when my parents, they would always, compliment the blacks. And he's just such a hypocrite. He doesn't stand like to the ground on things he says. And then the Holocaust came up, that discussion. And uh, Nick said that basically he believes in the Holocaust narrative. Now, I saw comments, people saying, oh, he was just trolling peers. No, that didn't look like a troll. He says he believes in it, and he believes in those numbers, and there was even more. And why couldn't you be honest? Why couldn't Nick just be straight up? If you really didn't believe in the Holocaust narrative, why couldn't you just say it? I think he's already had attempts on his life, and he's scared. But my point is that he's not fit to be a leader, and he doesn't have leadership qualities. And also the way he talks about women, and I know it's popular, is, I mean, I know today, in today's world, among the right wing, if you are respectful and kind to women, you're looked at as a simp. And so Nick Fuentes has this animus towards women. Well, wait a minute, you're supposed to be a Catholic. And, I mean, first of all, the foul language and then the joking, but all this talk about women, the guy's not married. And what I notice about a lot of Catholics, especially the youth, they have these weird attitudes about women. It's very Islamic. The whole Groyper movement has this very, like, not a very twinkish. And the ones, the people that traditionally have hated women and talk crap about women are sodomites. That's a sodomite thing to do because they're jealous and envious of women. So Nick's whole anti-woman thing, and again, this is a problem. Everybody's in extremes. If you call Nick out and the Groypers out for that, for the way they talk about women, which is very Islamic-ish, you're called a simp. No, it's called being a real man where you have respect for women. It doesn't mean you simp for them. You call them out on their stuff. You are the leader. And just because there's feminism doesn't mean you go to the opposite extreme. Now there's rumors that he's a sodomite himself and all this stuff. I don't know about all that, but I know that his behavior is very sodomitish, the way he talks about women. That's how sodomites are. They're very jealous and envious of women. I mean, in the right wing, our focus should be to heal the breach between men and women that has been caused by feminism, which was brought to you by the Jays. The pornography culture brought to you by the Jays. Abortion culture brought to you by the Jays. Contraception culture brought to you by the Jays. And so Nick spurred out on this whole wife jack thing. Why? Because he can't stand the fact that there's men that love their wives and they're not simps. It's natural to love the woman you're with who bears your children. You just do. It's going to show your kids a good example. Being kind, when people start saying kindness is weakness, that's an insecure person or people. And that's what I see with a lot of the red pill movement is these men can't stand when they see other men just be kind to their wives or whatever, or women, because they're insecure themselves. They're weak themselves. Kindness is not weakness. You know what I'm saying? And of course, there's the other extreme of the effeminate men that just kiss women's butts, and we know that's a problem. It doesn't mean you go to the other extreme. Right now, the right in America especially is really looking for a leader. And I have a feeling that this leader will arise out of basically obscurity. Already there's one of the leaders that I think is worthy of following is Thomas Rousseau, Patriot Front. That's the guy that people should look to if they're looking to somebody right now. But I have a feeling there's a leader that's going to come out of obscurity that's really going to galvanize the right. And as an American patriot, well, what are we founded on? politically? Well, we're a republic. We're not a democracy. We believe in freedom of speech. There's no such thing as hate speech and cancel culture in America. That's not an American concept. And we're built on Christianity and Protestant Christianity, meaning non-Catholic. And really, my ideal is there should be a point where no pope should feel comfortable coming to America. We need to get back to our roots as a nation. That's what made our nation so successful. The roots in Christianity, the founding fathers interpreted freedom not as a freedom to be a degenerate, but freedom in Christ. The freedom to live out the liberty in Christ, which is to keep Christ's teachings. Not Catholicism. I mean, they openly say they don't like freedom of religion, but their church teaches it. I mean, the modern Catholic Church believes in religious liberty. These Catholics like Dave O'Reilly, Nick Fuentes says, oh, they don't, religious liberty. Why? Because if the Catholic Church, if their version of Catholicism, of their warped version, which doesn't exist anymore, takes over America, they're going to persecute non-Catholics. They'll persecute Protestants, evangelicals. You want that America? I don't want that America. I don't want a papal America where Catholics are running around torturing heretics. That's not what America was founded on. It was founded to get away from that garbage. And Christian Zionism is a big problem. We need to get back to a kingdom Christianity, not a Zionist Christianity. It's not, country was founded on Protestant Christian principles. I'll say we need to get back, get the word Protestant out there. Kingdom Christian principles, not Zionist Christian, not Catholic Christian, kingdom Christian. Anyways, hail Christ, hail victory.